Okay. Well, it's just the two of us again. Hope you're okay with that.
I'm all right with it.
Couldn't get a guest, but I will say, hey, if anybody who's a marketing association member wants to come on and has some insights or has some work that they want to share, we'd love to have them on the podcast. We record every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. It's online, 45 minutes. So we'd love to have you on the podcast. But today, it's just Marc and I. And Marc, you've just come back from Cannes. Well, I guess that was 2 weeks ago. So I'm hoping,
Yeah.
you've recovered from jet lag and I don't know, maybe your liver has survived the south of France wine or whatever.
More like the Stampede.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, you came right from Cannes directly to the Calgary Stampede. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
good.
I thought today, just because, you were one of the Calgary delegates, I'd say, to go to Cannes, I thought maybe we'd talk about some of your highlights from Cannes. I know you've talked about it a bit on your other podcast, The Sleeping Barber, great podcast, but I thought I'd like to see what kind of insights or what you've learned from the conference out in Cannes. So are you okay with that? Or
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we talk about, I think when I think about Cannes, I think about the Olympics of marketing, basically, and arts and all that. There's a lot of glitz and there's a lot of glamours, but I think, you went there for a specific reason. Did you get sponsored to go from somebody? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we did. We had a partnership with System One.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think
Yeah,
that's
it was
amazing.
really great. Yeah, they're amazing partners, and we had a good chance to speak with a lot of the people that they have who are also speaking on stage and at various different venues. So it was great. It was really fun.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I think that's some validation that somebody out from Calgary is being sponsored to go all the way to Cannes from an organization like System One. So congrats on that. That's very cool
Thanks.
to you and B. Why don't you give us a bit of a highlight reel? Like, what were your top 5 moments, your top speakers, some of the beach conversations you might have had, or poolside conversations you had? Why don't we talk about that?
For sure. There's, from the marketing association perspective, there's lots of really cool things. I would say the one thing that's something we did last year when we went, and I didn't even know it existed, but people kept talking about going to see the work. And so on the basement floor of the building, of the Palais, they have all the submissions. And so they're like, I don't know what size that would be, like 20 by 40 kind of postcard or paper submissions kind of thing that they put up, and it gives sort of the context of the submission. So like what the problem was they were trying to solve, the challenges they were facing, what they did, the insight around it, and then the outcome. So it's really cool because you get to see all the submissions from all the different categories from all around the world. And really it's one of the best parts of the whole conference, I would say, is being able to spend time down there and just looking for, because everybody's got different, forms and sources of inspiration. And so seeing all kinds of things from around the world was really an awesome experience, and just kind of being able to think about it, absorb it, and, take some of those ideas away. So I took a ton of photos actually, which is great.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I like the idea of, they're basically showing these physical case studies rather than just showing the work, right? Like how did they get to the final creative component? Because we've had the Cannes Lions reel and stuff, and it's amazing creative work, but we don't get how they came to the conclusion that this was the creative to take or the direction to take. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific?
Well, just, there's a couple of great campaigns. One that I laughed my ass off at was there's one that Columbia, the sportswear company, did. I think it was called something like Expedition Impossible.
Okay.
And so they put a challenge out to all the flat earthers and to say,
really?
take a picture of the edge of Earth.
That's hilarious.
And send us the proof, and the whole company is yours.
That's so funny. I think
it was really funny
on YouTube.
the way that they were doing it. So that was a really funny one.
That's really
There's
cool.
other ones that I find fascinating, like KitKat had a number of submissions, And that's it. And that video was great because he goes around his whole office. That's the CEO, I think, of the company. He's like,
Oh,
yeah,
no
you
way.
can have this, and you can have this, and you can have this. And somebody's in a meeting room that they can't get in. They're like, yeah, there's still a meeting, but whatever's in there, you can have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they got a lot of pickup on it. So that was a really cool one. There's a KitKat out of home that was really great. Just the way they created it, with the idea of having a break. And the thing that I found really interesting about that one was that they have this brief, the have a like KitKat take a break brief.
Yeah.
And they've had it for 70 years.
Really?
Yeah. It's not something that's changed.
And then, yeah, like they had the brief for 7 years. What do you mean? Like
70.
70 years. Oh, like
They
the
haven't
tagline,
changed the brief. Like, I mean, ultimately the brief is it's a version of, so have a break, have a KitKat.
That's brilliant.
But they had some really great creative and really beautiful, like, artistic work for the out of home.
Yeah.
But it was just the idea that a campaign can last that long, like what we typically think of as an 8-week campaign, is kind of shocking. When it's not even the 8 weeks, actually. That was one of the other highlights. Here, I'll show you.
Sure.
Let me steal your screen here. So they had, here, where is it? Share. Window. So this one, this KitKat, take a break.
Yeah.
There's a little guy playing guitar on the KitKat. It's kind of like the man on the moon like idea. They're using the KitKat symbols and signs. So this is their distinctive brand assets. The red color, the KitKat name, the logo, but then they make it like a structural element that a little man on the moon kind of thing can do, having a break. I don't know if that was the actual intention of using the man on the moon, but it's just the way that I see it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just the idea that was something that a creative idea can last for so long. There was a really interesting piece of research that came from WARC, where they looked at thousands and thousands of campaigns, and they said, okay, well, how long does an average campaign last?
Yeah.
And I think the number was 38 days.
Huh.
And 38.
Yeah. How did they come up with that number?
Because they looked at all kinds of submissions, and because they have a lot of access to a lot of different work. Like they own the Effies, they own the Lions, they own, they do partnerships and collaborations with like the IPA and Ehrenberg Bass Institute and all kinds of different System 1. They do lots of different work with other people, and they get all kinds of access to data. Plus they have members, and then they do surveys with members and that kind of stuff. But anyway, the long story short is that they have discovered that the average campaign length is 38. I think it was 38 days. And then what they discovered is that if you just looked at brand campaigns last 40 days. And performance campaigns last something like 28 days. So it averages out to being somewhere in that 30 day range.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about like these really successful brands like KitKat or Geico Gecko, that's been around for 25 years. The TD chair is a thing that's been around for 20-ish years. They don't really change that much. And it's boring to a lot of marketers, and this is one of the other things that came up a lot. It's boring to a lot of marketers, but it's what works for when you're trying to talk to consumers.
Yeah, it's interesting, because it's not like, I guess it's not like a consistency thing. It's more of like, hey, we've been doing this for, I don't know, let's KitKat, for instance. We've been doing this for 70 years. We've earned the right to continue doing it and then have fun with it too. We're not going to change it. We're going to do different things, right? Like, I don't know. And
like the idea about, I think what makes it creative is that you stay inside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a couple of great pieces of work from Rethink as well, and Rethink has Coors Light. They actually Rethink, Canadian company,
Yeah.
won Independent Agency of the Year and then Independent Network of the Year, and that's not the first time they've won that. They've just been crushing it. They've been winning so many awards. Like, they do so much great work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that was interesting from that perspective is to see that the Canadian brands can compete. That was kind of inspiring against a global stage of, like you said, the Super Bowl of advertising. And I think one of the things that makes what they do work is they think a lot about what makes a good creative idea.
Yeah.
So when you go through the works and you see, like, in the basement, and you see all these creative concepts about the human insight or the big idea or the truth that everybody centers a campaign around, they just spend a lot of time, and they have a systematic version of how to think about those kinds of ideas through their crafts framework, which is really great. And we had interviewed Dan from ZGM and I'm drawing a blank, Ed from Changemakers on sort of other versions of those. But I think even before you get to, creative performance, it's about, is the idea any good? And so the quality of the idea makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you mentioned craft. What, for the audience, what would you consider? What's the acronym for craft?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Hang on, let me look at it.
I know, I'm looking it up now too.
Crafts is
it context, role, action, format, target, or tone?
No, clear, relevant, achievable, fresh, timely. I think timely. True, right, and shareable.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a really awesome framework. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. It's not just that they do that. There's a whole bunch of other things that they do that make them so successful. But it's just one of those things where, like, it's about playing inside the box, I think, more than anything. Like, even crafts they've defined a box, and then the creativity comes from playing within it.
Right.
And so creative for the sake of creative is just art, but creative from a business perspective is a commercial outcome that you're looking for. And so thinking about the consistency part over time doesn't mean that every ad has to look the same, but it does mean that you have to look like yourself across all channels and mediums and all that kind of stuff. And then thinking about campaign duration, if we're changing campaigns every 35, 40 days, and it looks totally different from one campaign to the next, it's no wonder that nobody notices the advertising doesn't work as well, because you look like somebody else every single time you run an ad.
Right. Do you think there's a bit of, like, advertising fatigue if you keep doing the same thing over and over again? KitKat
there's
obviously
a lot of evidence and research in that, and there's zero fatigue. We get fatigued, but the customer, especially if it's good creative, customers don't. And it takes time to wear in. Like, we talk about wear out all the time, but it actually takes time for ads to wear in.
Oh, that's interesting. That's so interesting. Yeah.
We had interviewed, one of the other highlights that we had was, well, not just for us, but there was the major stage there. It's the Debussy Theater. I can't remember how many people fit in it, but something like 1,000 people. And so lined up, standing room only. They actually had rooms that were broadcasting the talk between Marc Ritson and Byron Sharp. So subsequent rooms, if you couldn't get into the main room, they were simulcasting to other rooms.
Right.
So probably 1,500, 2,000 people kind of thing were watching this talk. So it was the 5 things that they agreed on. Because a bunch of years ago, they had a conversation, a debate around who was right.
Okay, yeah.
Between the two types of thinking that they had. And so they had a debate. But this year, it was the first time they had gotten together since then. So it was a sold out room. And it was a really interesting conversation. V and I actually got a chance to sit around and chat with Byron afterwards.
I was about to say, yeah. Was that the poolside conversation?
No, that was with Andrew Tyndall. But yeah, Byron Sharp was like, so he was arguably the headliner of the entire week, and we got a chance to chat with him. So for anybody who doesn't know Byron Sharp, he's a professor of marketing science at the Ehrenberg Bass Institute. And so I think Marc Ritson had said something like, yeah, it's Byron's world and we're just living in it. And so it's our How Brands Grow world and we're just living in it. So if you haven't read the book, How Brands Grow, if you're in marketing or in sales or in business, it's really, really good. But it's really important to like think about some of the things they're talking about. And because it's the best evidence that exists on the planet for how marketing works and how brands grow. And one of the things that Byron had told us about was, there's that idea of like people see 10,000 ads a day and, so it's so congested and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't actually think that's true at all. In fact, most ads are very fleeting. And so you're lucky if you remember 5-10 ads a day. There might be 10,000 in the world around you, but you don't see them. You don't pay attention to them. So thinking about it that way and thinking about why creative is so important and why having longer term campaigns or at least consistency from one campaign to the next, it's so important is because most people just don't see it.
True. Yeah. It's like that conversation we had with that gentleman from Rogers about Mind Shelf.
Yeah.
I can't remember what episode 8 or something like that.
Brad.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's from Rogers, right?
Yep.
Oh, we should reach out to him, see if he's okay. Actually, now that I think of it, with the Rogers cuts in the last week. But yeah, I think he talks about a bit about Byron Sharp and like the ultimate goal of marketing is that mental availability, right? So like on a physical grocery shelf, the most expensive and lucrative real estate is actually eye level. It's not about, it's like imagine you're trying to find something that's like, I don't know, below your waist and it's hard to find. Like you even think about KitKat, like the red packaging or just having that break tagline is basically like a consistent sensory cue for people. And this is why they can do the same thing for the last 70 years, right? So, or like you think about, I think maybe this wasn't Byron. I read this somewhere about the rule of 2. So like, most people only have room on their mind shelf or their mental shelf for 2, maybe 3 brands per category. So if you think about like colas, for instance, it's Coke and Pepsi, or fast food, it's McDonald's and name it, Burger King or whatever.
Yeah.
Smartphone, Apple and Samsung. So say if you're like, we could talk about like challenger brands. Maybe your job isn't really built around building this mind shelf. I'd love to understand, how do you create this, or how do you become this distinct brand without trying to copy the other brand when you're thinking about those rule of 2s that Byron Sharp I believe it's Byron Sharp that talked about the rule of 2s before.
Yeah, I don't know if I've never heard him talk about the rule of 2s, but the idea of it is Ehrenberg Bass thing for sure.
Yeah.
And so, and not just him, I mean, other people have also like discovered this and validated it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like especially in B2B, and I think that's where they discovered it originally. It was in B2B, like that if you're not on the day one consideration set, there's a study by Bain, I think, that did it, then your odds of getting selected as the vendor of choice drop dramatically from like, if you're on the day one list, I think it's like 85% of the time they pick a brand from the day one list. Yeah. And if you're not on the day one list, then you've got like, well, the difference, I guess, like a 15% chance you're going to get selected.
Right.
So that's the importance of branding ahead of time because people have already made a decision on, and in B2B is a huge difference because there's a whole buying committee there, and a lot of people in the buying committee have really a lot of influence, way more than the economic buyer would make a decision about. So Yeah, things like KitKat even, that's why they keep doing the same thing over and over. Not the same thing, but
Yeah.
iterations off the same thing over and over again. Because
Yeah.
like when you are about to have a break, when you want a break, they're trying to get you to think of KitKat. And you
Yeah.
don't always think about KitKat, but the more often that you do, the more often they win.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically like, I have 5 minutes between meetings and need a pause. Oh, let's have a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
They totally have that mind shelf under
Yeah.
control in that chocolate area, and or the chocolate category, I guess it would be, or candy bar category. But
Yeah, in some ways they're not even competing for chocolate. They're just competing for
yeah,
the category entry point of when I need a break, I think
yeah,
of,
interesting.
and then
Yeah,
fill in the blanks, it's Kit Kat.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, yeah. So being the Calgary delegate, I keep calling you Calgary delegate, but there's several other Calgary people there. I think Mandy from Colt was there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But what's one thing that you learned over at Cannes that you would take back to the Calgary marketing community?
Yeah, like I'll just show you this one thing here. This
Sure.
is a campaign that actually won the Grand Prix for Out of Home.
Mm.
I won't play this link. Maybe we can include this link in the show notes.
In the show
But
notes, yeah, I'll do that.
so this company called Mercado Libre won the Grand Prix for this activation. So they turned a soccer field into a barcode.
Right.
And it's Mercado Libre is like a grocery store, from what I understand, or like a Walmart. Yeah. They offer a lot of different things, but it's like a marketplace.
Yeah.
And so like the one thing that they talked about when they were talking about this being the Grand Prix winner was that it was inevitable. Like it could only have been done by this brand. And what's I think interesting about this is that like when you see it, you go, well, yeah, duh. Like, why wouldn't you turn a soccer field into a barcode? Like, a lot of people watch soccer. Like, it's a huge audience, and it's just a really interesting idea. And I think the one thing I'm fascinated by it is that the creativity is also in the media placement. Like, prior to that, probably most people would never have thought about a soccer field as a barcode.
Right.
It's no longer just about the Facebook square that you have to play with, or the YouTube first 5 seconds. Like, there's so many opportunities for creative expression of campaigns that you can build around it. It doesn't have to just be a digital format to be a great execution.
Totally. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, I'm just looking at the I guess the business results. And they said more than 53,000 coupons were redeemed, generating 1.5 million euros in sales. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good example of how, like outdoor advertising and, I guess experiential marketing, I guess we could call it that, are not just a brand awareness piece anymore, right? Like you look at Netflix activations, they're mostly brand awareness, but this is strictly like these are direct conversions, which is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see why I would have won for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think thinking about creativity, which is the point of it's the festival of creativity, but thinking about it's not just about the media, like the creative part of it. It can also be the creative use of media. So it's just such an interesting example, I think, that really kind of makes you, or made me think and pause around, like there's so much opportunity for us, I think, to create new things and get bigger results and better impact for the companies and the brands that we work for and work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I would love to challenge some of these agencies and some of these companies out in Calgary here on the marketing level to experiment with that type of stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
This is the type of stuff that's going to create your own mind shelf with different audience segments. So
yeah.
Well, I got to get going here.
Yeah.
Thanks for the short conversation.
No, that's great. Thanks for doing it. Yeah, and like
Yeah,
Derek said,
and
if
thanks for
you've
going
got,
out there. Thanks for sacrificing your time and
sorry,
resources to hang out in the south of France, drinking wine and
it was really
hanging out at the beach
one
and at the
quick one.
pool.
Actually, the one other highlight was that we went to
Yeah,
the
please.
Amazon port,
Oh
and
yeah,
they built this whole massive structure, but they had rosé on tap for the
on
whole
tap.
week.
Oh
It
jeez.
didn't
Oh my
stop
god.
flowing. Like every time you turn the tap on, rosé would come out.
Really? That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyway,
gosh, I gotta stay far away from these conferences.
I know it's dangerous. Anyway, thanks, Derek. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Bye.